Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. The topic which we are going to study today is decimals. This topic is relevant for all boards, but there is a part of decimals which we have generally in IGCSE board. So the students from all the boards can go through this lecture so that they will be understanding the basics of decimals. But mainly there is a part which will be at the last, that is a part from the IGCSE syllabus. So first, as I told you, whenever we start a topic, we first look at the word decimals. What is decimals? Now, as we understand, decimals are number in which there is a decimal point, a point. This is a decimal point. Decimals are also numbers, but there is a point in between them. So decimals are number which have a decimal point in between them. So and like example 0.452, 2.50, 34.549 and many. These are just few examples of decimals. There can be many numbers. So first, when we study numbers, we had studied the place value, right? When we write the number, first thing we study is to tell the place value of a number. So now here we can say this is ones, this is ones, and this is tens. Similarly, there is a place value for numbers after the decimal also. So after the decimal, the first number, the place value of that number is tenth. Like here it is tens, right? That is multiply by 10. Tens means multiply by 10. Tenth means divide by 10. The second number here, the place value of this number is hundredth. So this is divide by 100. And the last number here, which is given here, the place value is thousandth. That is divide by 1000. Okay, so there can be more numbers like 10,000 and so on. We have taken 3 numbers, so now we know the place value of all the number. This is tens, ones, this is tenth, hundredth and thousandth, right? So this is the place value. So when you study decimals, the first very important thing is you need to know the place value of the number. So we know the place value of the number after the decimal point. Okay, so now we will study the conversion of numbers from decimals to fractions, fractions to decimal. Okay, so when we have a fraction, we simply divide. When we have a fraction and we need to convert into decimal, we simply divide. So suppose the fraction is 3 upon 5. What will you do? You will divide this like this. So you got the answer, right? So fractions to decimal is very easy. You just divide. But how do you convert decimal back to fraction? How do we do that? So now if there is a decimal number, we will take one example, 0.45. This decimal we want to convert to fraction. So how do we do that? There is nothing at the ones place, so we keep it blank. There is the first number. The place value of this number is, as I told you, tenth. This is tenth and this is hundredth, right? So we have two numbers after the decimal point. One is the tenth and the other one is the hundredth. So tenth means divide by 10, as I told you. So the place value of this is 4 upon 10 plus the place value of this is 5 upon 100. Now we need to write the place value, or we need to convert this into decimal together. You cannot keep it like this, right? So very simple. If you want to get 100 here also, to add these two fractions, we need to get the same number. So if I tell you this is 45 upon 100, because when you multiply here by 0, here also you will multiply by 10. So this will become 40 and this is 5. 45 upon 100. So the total place value, or the total place value, is 40 upon 100 plus 5 upon 100. Now the decimal converted into fraction becomes 45 upon 100, right? So in this way you convert the decimal into fraction. Now let's take up one more example, a little different one, 9.204. In this there are two changes. We have three numbers after the decimal point. One more thing, we have a number before the decimal point also. We did not have that in the first example. Okay, so the number which is before the decimal place is ones, so it's a whole number, so we write it as it is. What is the place value of 9? It's 9 only, so I will write 9 as it is. Plus, what is the place value of 204? As I told you, ones, hundreds, tenths, hundredth and thousandth, right? So 10th, 100th, 1000. So directly can I write 204 upon 1000? So the answer is 9204 upon 1000. So this decimal is also converted into fraction. But this is which fraction? This is a mixed fraction. Okay. So now we understood how to convert fractions into decimals and decimals into fractions, where some of them may be proper and some may be mixed fraction. Okay, so as we perform operations on whole numbers, on fractions also, in the last video we had performed addition, subtraction, multiplication and division on fraction. Similarly, same thing can be done to decimals also. So if you have two decimals, 4.5 plus 2.582, so you can simply add them, just keeping in mind the decimal point, right? So the decimal point should be at place. So if you have two numbers, 4.5 plus 2.782, right? So decimal number should be at place. You write 4.5, 2.782. The numbers which are not there, we just put 0 and we simply can add everything, right? Similarly, if you change the sign to subtraction, you can also perform the subtraction with these two. You can perform multiplication or division with any of the numbers, so which you all have been doing. It's nothing different. So addition, subtraction, multiplication and division is very simple with decimals and is being done from last so many years. We are doing all these things, so it's nothing new. Something different is that every time it's not necessary the decimal will be like this only. There can be a little different decimals. So how do we convert those decimals into fractions? We will learn that. And those different decimals, what those different decimals are. Sometimes when you see there is a decimal number written 4.3 and there is a dot up. What does this dot means? Sometimes you have 5.23 and there is a line up. What is the meaning of this line? Why is this line drawn? And why is this dot here? There is a reason for that. And what is the reason? The reason is these decimals are called as recurring decimals. Recurring decimals. As the word tells, recurring. Recurring means it's coming again and again and again. So here there's a dot on 3. That means this decimal is 4.33333 and we don't know till when. And the second one is 5.23232323 and it is going on and on. We don't know where it is ending exactly. So when we do not know where is the end to the decimal point, those decimals are recurring decimals. But keep in mind, not all decimals are recurring. There are some decimal numbers like 2.458219886. This is also never ending, but this is not recurring because the same number is not getting repeated again and again. Here if you see in the first case, the one number is getting repeated again and again, And in the second example, two numbers are getting repeated again and again. So these are recurring decimals. So now if you have normal decimals, you can just write the place value of the numbers and write the answer in fraction. But here you don't know what is the last place value only. So how do you convert this decimals into fraction is a little different thing. So what do we do? How do we do that? We'll learn that now. What do we do here? If I take one simple example, 0.4, which is recurring, and I have to convert this into fraction. So as you see, 4 is recurring, means it is going to come again and again and again. So I don't know the last place value of this number. So we follow some steps and find out the answer in fractions. The first step being, we will take this question as x. We will assume this question to be x. So we will write let x is equals to 0.4 recurring, and this becomes our equation number 1. Now second step, we check how many recurring numbers are there after the decimal points. So here if you see, there is only one recurring number after the decimal point, right? So we multiply this by 10. If there were 2 decimal points, we would have multiplied by 100. If 3, we would have multiplied it by 1000. So as you can see, it depends upon the number of recurring decimals. As many numbers are recurring, the number of zeros keep increasing. 1 number 10, 2 numbers 100, 3 numbers 1000, and so on. So here we have only one number. So I'll multiply the equation. I'll multiply equation 1 by 10. What do I get? 10 into x becomes 10x. And if you multiply this, I'll get 4.4. Again, this 4 will be recurring, right? Because we don't know where it ends. So this becomes my equation number 2. Simply, third step, subtract equation 2 minus 1. So this becomes 10x is equals to 4.4, which 4 is recurring. The next equation is x is equals to 0.4, and we need to subtract them. So here 4 minus 4, this becomes 0. So this will be, any number of 4s will be 0 only here. This will be 4. And 10x minus x will give us 9x. So what is the value of x? 4 upon 9. And as you see, x is also 0.4 recurring. So now can we write 0.4 recurring is equal to 4 upon 9. So we successfully converted this recurring decimal into fraction. Right? So please remember these 3 steps. First, mark the question, name it as x. That will be our equation 1. Then we multiply it with the number of zeros according to the recurring numbers. If 1, then 10, 2, then 100, and 3, then 1000. After multiplying, we get our equation 2, and then we simply subtract the 2 equation and we get the value of x. So we successfully converted this into fraction. Now not necessary. Let's take up one more example, a little tough to understand than this. That was an easy one. Let's take up one more example. So the number here is 0.031. So here 3 and 1 are recurring. Okay. So here 3 and 1 both are recurring. And there are 3 numbers after the decimal point. So as I told, the first step will be let x equal to 0.031 recurring. This becomes my first equation, right? Then we have to check the number of recurring numbers here. How many numbers are recurring here? 2. There are 3 numbers after decimal point, but how many are recurring? 2. So we will multiply it by 100. So we will multiply equation 1 by 100. So what do you get? 100x is equals to, this will become 3.131. This will be recurring, right? because it's 3 1 recurring. So this will be 3 1 recurring. This becomes my equation number 2. Now third step, we'll subtract the equation. So this becomes 100x is equals to 3.131 minus x is equals to 0.031. Here also it's recurring. This becomes 0, this becomes 0, this is 1 and this is 3 and this becomes 99x. As you see, we are getting the answer in decimal here, but do we need it in decimal? No. So as I told you, this is a little different from the first question we did, right? Here again after solving we are getting decimals. But is there a way to remove this decimal? Yes, we can. We are in an equation, right? So if I multiply both sides by 10, will this decimal be removed? Right? The decimal will shift on the right side, right? So simply just multiply by 10. The answer is to be multiplied by 10. So 99 into 10 will become 990x is equals to, this becomes 31.000. Okay. So now can you find the value of x? This is 31 upon 990. Right? So this is a little different than the first example, I know. But there can be an example where you multiply once and then you have to multiply again the answer also to get the answer in fraction. So here this is the value of x and x is the question also. So 0.031 which is recurring is equals to 31.990. I hope you all have understood how to solve this. Okay, we solve this. Why do we solve this and get the answer in fraction? Because sometimes we have to solve this addition. So you cannot simply add this because it's recurring. So you don't know where to stop, right? At that time, we first convert this into fraction and then we add the fractions. So I'll give you a question to try. Just try. I will post the answer once you all post the answer or anyone post the answer. I'll solve the full sum also. But then there is a question for you all. 0.4 recurring plus 0.51 recurring. So in this I'll just give you a hint. First convert this recurring into fraction and then this recurring into fraction and then you add the fraction, you will get a single fraction as an answer. Okay, so you'll have to convert first this, then you will have to add the fraction and then you get the answer. So this is just a challenge question for you all. Please post the answers. If any doubt, please comment below. That's it for today's lecture. See you in the next lecture. Thank you for watching.